Do you know the difference between a regular palette versus a unified palette? Today I'm going to be comparing both so you know exactly what kind of palette you need for your paintings. If you want to learn how to unify your palette, I have a full video on my channel, so make sure to check it out. For supplies today, I'll be using a long flat brush, a filbert brush, a liner brush, a long flat brush but a small size, a jar of water, a towel rag. For colors, I have the regular side, which is cerulean blue, hooker's green, pale olive green. For my oranges, I mixed cadmium yellow and quinacridone red, crimson red and lemon yellow, and titanium white. And on the unified palette side, I have the same colors, but I have mixed yellow ochre into all of them. I'll be using two 6x4 inch canvases. So starting off with my regular palette, I'm going to begin by wetting my canvas completely so that I have a nice wet base to start off with, and then grabbing my darker, deeper color of orange, I'm going to just start applying it very loosely. I like to work in layers, and it's very nice when you paint expressively. You can kind of work in a more loose and fun way without having to worry too much about making mistakes, because everything will tie together at the end. Painting with the regular colors felt very vivid and almost like I was painting with very, very vibrant colors, almost like how you see colors as a child. Everything is so green, everything is so bright, and I think it is nice, but I think when you think of nature and how it actually resembles and looks, the greens don't tend to usually be this strong and vivid in their tone, and so I definitely didn't really like how the green was coming out. I still continued with it because I wanted to see it through, and I always give my process the benefit of the doubt. So if I don't like how it is, I don't give up. I always just make sure that I complete it and then decide if I like it and what I would change about it next time when I paint it. So for me, I really liked the colors of the orange. I thought it was nice, and even the colors of the sky, that didn't bother me, but it was really the green. I just found it to be very sickly green, and it was just not the kind of tone and colors that I usually go for. So I was very eager to get started on the unified palette, but I wanted to finish this through, so I just continued building up my depth by adding dark and light. I also ended up mixing some white and also using some of the orange as well to mix into the green to help neutralize it a little bit, but I also wanted to stay true to the colors that we had on the regular palette without using too much of the orange to make the green a more earthier type. I also went in with some of the white and added some little flowers. I love painting from my head, and I usually do, but sometimes I come across a photo and I really feel inspired by it. And I came across this picture of this orange tree, and I knew I just had to use it for this video and for my reference. Moving on to our unified palette, I started off doing the exact same process as I wanted to be able to compare painting in the same way, using all of the same techniques. I just wanted to be able to compare the difference between having a unified palette versus a regular one. Sometimes paintings can look a bit different on the palette than they do on the canvas, especially when you're applying light layers. So you actually get to see the real tone and hue of the color. And I was so surprised at how different the blue turned out. Felt very weird to be painting with such a grayish, and it almost felt like I wasn't painting with blue at all. So it was really interesting to me to see how much of a difference it was adding just a small amount of that yellow ochre into the cerulean blue and the difference that it came from it. And just that in itself made this so interesting to paint with, because it really felt like I was discovering that colors can be so different to what they originally are if we just play around and mix. So I kept doing the same process as I did before, and it all just felt very much like there was a sepia filter on top of my painting. Everything was almost like an orange yellowy tint, and even the greens, which I thought I wasn't gonna like, I really liked the end color of how they turned out, because I think they actually resemble more closer to the trees and leaves outside than the first regular palette. So, and to finish off, I just added those little white flowers and some twigs. Here are the results of the final paintings. This is the regular palette, and this is the unified palette painting. These are the paintings side by side. I'd love to know which one you think is better and whether you'll be trying to unify your own painting. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.